Welcome back to another episode of the Adventures of a Disney Dad podcast. This week we are joined by Lauren, founder and owner of Main Street Tourist. She's back. And recently, Chip, Lauren, and I had the opportunity to go to Walt Disney World, and we took on a VIP tour. Special thanks to the friends that invited us. There were a group of creators, and it was awesome. Great experience. We're all very thankful for that. And then on that same weekend, we got to check out the after hours event at Hollywood Studios. So this week on the podcast, we're going to review, give our feedback, talk about maybe who the VIP tour and who the after hours events are a good fit for, maybe who they're not. We're also going to catch up with Lauren a little bit on everything that's going on at Main Street Tourist. And next week, we're going to dive into all the changes to MultiPass, Genie Plus, all that fun stuff, because it's a little premature, and I think people are freaking out about it for, I guess, rightfully so. But we'll deal with that next week when it's a little closer to coming out. In the meantime, Lauren, welcome back. What is going on at Main Street Tourist? Give us all the details. Latest drop was Cosmic Rewind, right?
Yeah, that went over. I mean, I like that trip because I like that ride. Even though I got really nervous, and people went crazy for it. So I already have a restock in the works. We were able to work out my screen printer, our Halloween collection. I was going to launch it September, but there was a Halloween miracle, and he's able to get it to me for the first week of August, so August 1st. So I'm wicked excited about Halloween. That's my jam, and I just think, I showed it to you, Matt, and I'm really excited for the Halloween collection.
The Halloween set might be my favorite set that you guys have done. I'm pretty stoked about that one.
On a side note, you just said Wicked in the whole Boston. I just started laughing.
Oh yeah,
you said Wicked.
It comes out sometimes.
The Halloween collection looks awesome. The Cosmic Rewind collection is awesome. And somebody was debating this, and I'm going to get your guys' opinion on this. This is it's Disney related, but it's a little off topic of what we were planning on talking about today. A big discussion has been made about the storyline of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I think at this point, we've all had the opportunity to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure on the weekend that we're talking about, which was a really cool experience too. And people are saying it has no story. And one of the things, and this is how it relates back to Cosmic Rewind, I love that ride, and I can never remember what the story of that is. So my question for you, Lauren and Chip, and Lauren, I want you to go first, just because you're our guest. Do stories matter to you on rides? And do you really care about them for Cosmic Rewind and Tiana's Bayou Adventure in particular?
I feel like Cosmic Rewind is, you could have no storyline and be like, oh my God, that was crazy. Whereas Tiana is I feel like story forward. And I've seen Tiana's, obviously the movie, Princess and the Frog movie. And I was a little bit perplexed as to what was actually going on, and then there were so many critters. Me and Athena wrote it. Someone was kind enough to give us a cast preview or whatever that was, and I was like, why are there so many critters? Was that part? I don't remember that part of the movie, so I do feel like maybe it was a little bit confusing. But Cosmic Rewind, I love Guardian, so I knew who all those characters are, but again, that's not really a story ride. That's that's an experience coaster ride type of thing.
I feel like people care more about what song they get than they do about
exactly
100%.
Yeah.
Chip, you feel the same way about it?
I got the story. It kind of clicked to me after. It was after the fact. It wasn't during it. It was like reflecting after it, and I was like, oh, it kind of makes sense. I always love the. I'm not a big story guy in general, but I got it. It made sense to me. I'm still wondering if they changed any of the. There was one part, I don't remember that in Splash Mountain. Before you drop, the double hump. I thought that was new, and it might not be, but...
It's definitely not new, I can tell you that.
That was a jump scare.
I don't remember that in Splash Mountain either, and it was was that new? After that, I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe they did change it up. But I'm not spoiling it. There is a story. It's you catch on in the middle of it. There's nothing really before.
Maybe
it's right in the middle.
Distracted then, because I got a little.
There are a lot of new characters and a lot of the new critters and kind of things that they're introducing to that world that I think make it a little bit disjointed. It kind of feels like. And I'll just mention, I got to go opening day and I rope dropped it, and I think I was the first person that rode it opening day in Lightning Lane, and that was one of the coolest experiences I've had at Disney. Was walking up, because all the employees were kind of lined up around the ride and on the bridge, and all the people that worked on it, and being part of that group to walk up at the beginning was a lot of fun. The one thing that I'll also mention is in terms of Cosmic Rewind, the queue and pre-show stuff is so obnoxious to me that it's borderline irritating. Yeah. To me, like if you buy the individual lightning lane, it should be more like what you at Universal with Express Pass, where you skip all that stuff. Like you are literally just going and getting on the ride and not spending 20 minutes watching the pre-show. And I think, I don't know, Cosmic Rewind always irritates me a little bit in that regard because it's a much longer experience than it needs to be. And I feel like you could be able to just get on and get out of there. But anyway, I think,
and it's got the Willy Wonka hallway too.
Oh my God, I hate that
smaller
part.
and smaller. That's terrible.
That's where I whacked my head while we were there.
Yes.
I felt like I had like a legit concussion the entire rest of the afternoon. But anyway, I did want to touch on that just because I think it's been an interesting discussion that I've seen online. Now, jumping into, we're going to start with the after hours event. The after hours event was something that we all paid for individually. We met up with some friends. Chip and his wife and the baby came. Our friend Athena, who owns Kingdoms & Co., came. And it was a really cool experience, just like being there as a group of friends. But what Lauren, I'll start with you. What was your kind of overall, well, I don't have to, I can skip to Chip. But what was your overall thought on, I guess your overall hot take on the after hours event at Hollywood Studios in particular?
I wouldn't do it again, but as someone who maybe, I don't even know, I don't even want to say if this was your first time and you were trying to do a lot, because I feel like we didn't even get to do a lot. I went into that being like, I'm going to ride Slinky Dog so many times, and we saw Fantasmic, and I think you said like an hour before Fantasmic even started, Slinky was closed from then till like almost 11 at night. And when it opened, it was like a 65-minute wait. So I don't know. It was fun, like you said, it was fun to hang out as a group of friends, but it was late. There wasn't a lot going on, I feel like. There was a lot of waits. I don't care for like the free popcorn or the ice cream. That doesn't really do anything for me, but
I think that was the most surprising thing, right? Like, I think we expected, and when we talked to cast members as a group, when we checked in, we went to Fantasmic when the park was still open. We checked in, and we were talking to cast members we talked to them a little bit about our podcast and stuff like that, and they shared with us that the after hours event was less than 50% sold, which meant like you already have lower crowds because it's an after hours event, and then it's only 50% of what they normally sell. So I think we all kind of had this expectation that everything would basically be a walk-on in terms of rides. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Like, I feel like it was borderline a normal day at Hollywood Studios. And for those that don't know, there are some special characters that are there for after hours events. You do get free soda. It's not free because you're paying for your ticket, but soda is included. Ice cream bars, like Mickey bars, are included. Popcorn is included. All the shops are still open. The majority of the rides are still open, and then some of the restaurants. So I think it was Woody's Lunchbox. Yeah, Woody's Lunchbox was still open, but like I don't think Hollywood Brown Derby wasn't open, and a lot of the sit-down restaurants weren't open.
The milk stand was open. Woody's Lunchbox, and maybe Backlot. I think were the only. I
think like one of the American fairs or whatever down by Tower of Terror, I think was open too. But at the time, to give them some credit, at the time Rock and Roller Coaster was down still, so now that's reopened.
Oh yeah.
But we rode Tower of Terror, then we rode Rise of the Resistance. Rise of the Resistance, we still waited probably 20 or 30 minutes. Tower of Terror was basically a walk-on. Yeah. And then when we wanted to ride Slinky Dog, it was still closed, and then it reopened. As Lauren mentioned, it was like a 65-minute wait. And there was no way, we were going to wait that long. The character lines were all really long. I don't think I saw any of the characters with short lines, and they weren't like that great of characters. So it's not.
It was weird that Rafiki was there. What was he doing there?
I don't know. And
he's the only unique one. But Pinocchio and Rafiki were the two unique, and I never saw Pinocchio out. I just saw Rafiki out, and it was like a 25-minute wait.
So to give people some context, you can get the characters that are usually there: Rafiki, Stitch, Pinocchio, and Jiminy Cricket, which we saw them. Like I'm not trying to be rude, but who cares about those? Duffy, Chip and Dale, Donald and Daisy, and Donald and Daisy are in special outfits. Goofy and White Rabbit, Mary
I
Poppins.
didn't see half of those guys.
I definitely did not see
I
White
saw
Rabbit.
Jiminy Cricket and Rafiki.
Yeah, I saw Pinocchio.
I know we saw
Pinocchio.
Tiana.
Yeah, Stitch.
We definitely saw Tiana.
Oh yeah, we did see her.
Jasmine, Pocahontas, and Miko. We saw Pocahontas and Miko for sure. And that's it. Like, no Star Wars characters at all, which I think was the biggest
That was weird.
shocking part of it, right? Like, none of them walking around, none of the Star Wars meet and greets were available.
Mickey was walking up, was that Grand Boulevard? Mm-hmm. He was walking up and down that most of the night, so we saw him a little bit. But yeah, the
Chip,
character
what was
we
your
saw
overall
Daisy.
thought?
If everything was open, I would do it again with my kids, just my older kids. I wouldn't take my little ones. I would take my older ones. I don't know if I would do it at Hollywood Studios again. I would probably do it at Magic Kingdom. But I thought there were more people there than I thought were going to be there. That was kind of my overall take. Don't take a baby. We did it anyway. It's like it was one of those that we were going to pass her off, but my wife wanted to ride Slinky Dog. She hadn't ridden it, and we weren't going to wait 60 minutes. But I will say the cast members were telling us just to take all of the 20-ounce pops, and we filled up a backpack and had pop for the week.
Wow.
It's a little bit of a win.
So.
I'll say too, like, I've done the after hours at Magic Kingdom, and that was a far better experience than this was. It's partially, I think, because it's got more attractions. There's more things to do there. But I did a date night at Magic Kingdom, my wife and I, and everything was a walk-on. I think the most we waited was like 20 minutes for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but everything else you could just walk straight onto. And the characters there are like nothing spectacular, but it was still pretty cool. But the other thing that you get when you do it at Magic Kingdom is you get to watch Enchantment. So you get 2 fireworks shows if you do after hours at Magic Kingdom. So you'll get the 9:20 show of Happily Ever After, and then at 11 you can also watch Enchantment. And what I found out the day after we did the Hollywood Studios after hours is that you don't have to have a ticket to watch Enchantment during after hours at Magic Kingdom. So yeah, I don't think that anybody kind of advertises that, and I'm not going to post this part on social media, but you only get kicked out of Magic Kingdom for after hours if you try to ride a ride without a wristband. So if you like just sit there, like there were plenty of people that just sat in the hub waiting to watch Enchantment, not out trying to ride rides or eat the snacks or anything like that. You can just hang out and you can watch it. And I did. I stayed and watched the second fireworks show and then I left. So, that's a little tip for anybody that's interested in doing the one at Magic Kingdom. But I think overall our consensus was like, it's probably not something we would do again. Is that fair?
No.
I wouldn't do it there again. I would do Magic Kingdom or even Epcot. I feel like would be cool.
My problem with Epcot is wait till Test Track comes back to do it with Epcot. But I agree. Like maybe with Rock and Roller Coaster and Slinky Dog Up, it's a little bit better. But the thing that was disappointing was, and maybe this is our recommendation, is don't go see the fireworks or don't go see the show 9:30 because your event starts at 9:30, so you're wasting about 40 minutes of your event by going and watching that. So that'd be something I would probably not do.
Definitely cut into it. Lauren, let me ask you this. Would there be a specific family or group or type of person or traveler or whatever that you would recommend it for? Do you think that it would be a good fit for?
Maybe people who don't go super often, or I don't know. I feel like my kids would love that if they were like a little bit older, would love the idea of being in the park super late. That could be like a fun special thing. Or like I said, if you're not a frequent visitor and you're just trying to jam pack as much as you can in. But I think if you're there pretty frequently, or if you're an annual pass holder, I don't really see it being super worth it.
It was not cheap either. I think it was like close to $150 a person.
Yeah.
Which is the same, or if not more, than a normal single park ticket. And you definitely don't get as much to experience. And I think, this also bleeds into, we talk a lot about Jollywood Nights coming up and tickets being on sale for that. There's a lot of the same problems, right? It's that there's not enough to do, which was the biggest criticism of that Christmas party. So I know they made some changes to try and address that last year, and maybe they'll start to do that with the after hours events also. Or you can also lower the price and make people feel feel better about it.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I had more fun when we were at Baseline and we sat eating pretzels and we're talking with Bonnie and stuff. That was the best part of that day, and that was just during regular hours, just people watching. I had a lot of fun doing that versus after hours.
Yeah, I do think also having like a group of friends salvaged the night in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if I had been there, just my wife and I think we would have both probably been a little bit more irritated.
Yeah, for sure.
That was just my
and
thought.
and I know you guys split up because Kelly was nursing the baby, but we went and rode Mickey Minnie's and Toy Story Mania, which was fine because those were the rides that she could ride on, and so that was pretty cool for us, I guess, as we got to have that special moment and we got to take Lennon around and meet some characters. But it's nothing I would recommend to anybody that's got younger kids. It's probably the older high school kids. And then going along with Lauren, it's one of those that if you only have like 3 park day tickets, maybe this is your 4th park day, and because you get in at 7, I think, or 7:30, something like that. But that's the only time I'd really recommend it.
And the problem with that is that like going from 3 park days to 4 park days is only like $80 or $90
Yeah.
per person. So you'd be much better off going from 3 park days to 4 park days and having the entire day in a park than it would be to just get that
true.
5 hours. Like, and I'm not trying to be
also,
the pessimist here. It's just that's just.
But going along with that, like I walked on Rise of the Resistance at 8:40. I texted Matt this. I walked on. It took me 4 minutes. It said 25 minutes. It took me 4 minutes to walk through the queue, and I was at Ray. So, and that was at 8:25 minutes before the park closed.
And
so,
speaking of Rise of the Resistance, a little off subject here. They are testing single rider lines now, which
saw
I
that
think is
today.
interesting. And you know, I don't know if you guys have seen this online, but in general, the expectation is that the crowds at Walt Disney World this summer are going to be much, much, much lower. Like lower than we've seen in a really long time. So I think over the next few weeks, we're going to see a lot of talk about Disney being dead, a lot of like people being a little ridiculous, saying the wait times are the lowest they've ever been, yada yada yada. A lot of nonsense, a lot of like over exaggerated takes. But Disney has like openly said they expect Walt Disney World to have lower attendance this summer. It's something I think travel agents across the industry are seeing just in terms of what we see booked. A lot of people are really excited to go in the fall, in September, October. I'm going in the fall. Lauren, I think you guys are going in the fall too, right?
Yeah, we're doing like our little girls trip in the beginning of October.
Yeah. Are you going down this summer at all?
No, we're actually doing the Alaska Disney cruise in August.
Oh, that'll be
heyo.
I've never been on a cruise, so we're like super excited to go. So any pointers you guys have, because I'm very overwhelmed.
100%. I got you.
We
Yes.
might have to get a recap of that too. I think that like it's prime orca season until October, if I remember right.
That's my spirit animal, and I told my husband, I said, if I see one, I'm going to cry because I just like.
No,
I would
listen,
die.
my only advice is my dad just went on one last year about the same time.
Yeah,
Is you've got to pack for every weather, every
that's
season.
what's
You're gonna see 'em
overwhelming
all.
me. I'm such like an organizer, and I was like, we need summer, winter, and spring clothing for 4 of us. We need waterproof shoes. We didn't have any of those. I had to buy those. It's just
Oh
like
my
a lot.
gosh. That'll be
I'm
fun.
You'll be on the Wonder. The Wonder's an awesome ship, so
It looks
that's
really
fun.
cool. The kids club looks like. Can I come in there? It looks like pretty fun.
Oh yeah,
Oh, are
we'll talk.
we-
We'll talk after this. We'll talk about.
Yeah.
I'll give you some pointers.
Chip's our native Disney cruise guy, and
Oh, cool.
the I guess the question I would have is like, have you considered doing like Disney cruise shirts? Is that a thing?
I'm hoping
And-
I get like a little inspiration for because a lot of people ask. I didn't realize how much of like it's like pretty big deal to people who like Disney is the cruise lines.
It'll change it. You're gonna be like, okay, now we gotta go to the Bahamas and do that because
Yeah.
it's the service is unreal. It's the best
Yeah,
service I've ever had.
that's so cool. That's good to hear.
Circling back before we jump into the VIP tour stuff, when it comes to Main Street Tourist, I want to ask you, I'm going to try and pull out a little bit of some secrets. So we know Cosmic Rewind's coming. We know the next drop will be Halloween. The couple shirts. I'm not going to say how many. I don't want to give your secret sauce away. But in the future, do you get a lot of requests for like resort shirts? Or what it like, do you want to stick with attraction related stuff? What's the future look like beyond Halloween?
I got a Phantasmic shirt coming in like the
Nice.
fall, like September, October. Then obviously holiday stuff. I have a couple holiday shirts, but no, I have had requests for resorts. But right now I'm still very into like the attraction part and like the ideas for the attraction are there. And I have some ideas for resort, but I think if I'm gonna do those, I want to do them as like a collection. I don't want to just like randomly release the Caribbean and then like 6 months later, Pop Century or the Poly, whatever. But I would love to have, maybe I could do like a deluxe collection and then the moderates. That could be kind of fun. But I would definitely like to tap into that.
It sounds like we're getting a little bit of a teaser there, so really looking forward
On
to
on a different note with that, it is so cool when I see somebody in your shirt and I just start smiling like, I know her. I don't
That's
say anything
awesome.
to him. I don't say anything. I just smile like, and I hit Kelly. I hit her a couple times, but yeah.
Yeah, it makes
Chip,
my day when people are like, I saw your shirts because like I don't live there. So like I would love to see people in the park. So it makes me feel like I'm there when you guys tell me that.
when it comes to that too, I just want to mention this because Chip, I hadn't had a chance to tell you about this. When we were there that weekend, Athena, who runs Kingdoms and Co., brought some of her merchandise. Lauren had some stickers, and then I had some of the Park Adventures apparel hats. And we did a locker giveaway at Epcot. And
saw
Lauren,
that,
Lauren and Athena have done that before. I had never done it, and it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And
It was so
like,
fun to watch your reaction, honestly.
it was
cool.
really cool. I don't want to give away this. I guess I gave away the secret spot.
It's okay.
But like we stood there and you could watch, like after Lauren posted it and it was posted on all of our Instagrams, you could see people basically start running. I don't want to say running because like they were walking really fast.
They had a pep in their
You could
step. You
tell-
could point them out.
Yeah, you could tell, and like we're across the water, and you can tell who's going to the lockers and who's not. And that was really like the hype for your shirts and for Athena's stuff. It was really really cool to see how people like are checking Instagram randomly and then start racing across Epcot.
Yeah,
it was a lot
fun.
of fun.
That is
That was a really cool experience. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about the VIP tour. And I want to preface this by making sure we say thank you to the people that invited us. You know who you are. We really appreciate it. Appreciate you listening. Also, we had a really great group. There was a lot of content creators: Matt Richardson, Brian Trex, TJ Trex, Jasmine Dreams.
Yep.
Some really great folks. You can see all that stuff on Instagram. And we had a fun day. But in general, I guess Lauren, what's your feedback on the VIP tour? And give a little bit of an insight as to like the highlights and maybe some things that you wish you would have known or would have done differently.
I thought it was always like a bucket list thing. I never thought I'd be able to do it. So I was like super pumped. And like you said, we had a great group of us. Seth, the tour guide, was like 10 out of 10. He was so much fun to like hang out with for the day. I think it was really cool. You did feel like kind of like a big wig walking through, you know, the cast member with the plaid and like he had his umbrella and like that part was really fun. And I thought it was really cool, all the backlot stuff that you could see, like how they dropped us off like right behind Guardians. Because at first I was like, oh, it's going to eat up so much time, like transporting us to each and every park. But they like got you in right where you needed to be. You exited out all these really cool exits. I did a bunch of stuff I've never done before. I did like Tron. I saw like the Magic Kingdom fireworks show. I got to do a lot of fun stuff that I was really excited about. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a great experience. And Chip, before I give my 2 cents, what did you think?
I'm going along with Lauren. When it first got presented to us, it was a day before our trip, so I flew in that day. So it was a long day for me, and then we stayed up and we rode a couple extra rides, and it was just a long day. But it was one of those things that I never envisioned. Like when we started this podcast, I was like, oh man, it'd be cool one day to have like a podcast VIP tour in like 5-10 years, whatever. And for it to happen within a year, it was
Right?
awesome. It was one of
Crazy.
those things that it was cool to go to all the rides. Like there's some rides I'm too big for. Like I'm a huge human being. I tell that to everybody. I stand out like a sore thumb. But the group was phenomenal. Like we got to ride all the big rides. The time flew by the way.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of the thing that the time just flew by. I had never been in some of the parts of the queue, like the Tron lightning lane. I hadn't been in that. And that was eye-opening because I'm like, oh, I'll never wait in the standby queue ever again. But it was really cool. Our tour guide was phenomenal. He gave us any facts, any questions. He would not tell us who he's hosted before. We tried. I tried multiple times. But Seth was awesome. Also, he did have the inside scoop, but he just wouldn't announce it until Matt told us about the whole Genie Plus going away. That was kind of funny. But It was really cool. I would love to do it again. I would love to take my family to do it, but that would be the thing is I'd want to do it with my family. And I know some people were upset that we didn't get to watch the fireworks on the hub. Bob Iger was in town. I get it. We're not as important as him. So
Was it confirmed that it was him that's why we couldn't go?
yeah.
I heard that it was, but I never ended up seeing like pictures of him or anything. But it's 2 days before Tiana's Bayou Adventure opened, and essentially what Chip's alluding to there is when you have a VIP tour. For those that are familiar, in front of Casey's, there's a section of hubgrass, and in front of the ice cream parlor near Tomorrowland Terrace, there's hubgrass. The one next to Tomorrowland Terrace is where you go if you have the dessert party fireworks package. So you get that section cordoned off. And you usually go in front of Casey's on the hubgrass there for the VIP tour. Because there were I'll say it was Disney executives or some other group that was there, the VIP tour was put above the trains at the train station on Main Street, which was a really cool view.
Yeah.
It was really cool to experience because you know that like you're not going to get to see it from there ever again. In general, just to go back to Chip's point, we've been doing this podcast for almost a year. And I think the biggest or most important thing to me was that like we've met people that we've become really good friends with from doing this podcast. Lauren included. Matt has been on the show a bunch, and like the fact that we've made so many friends, and there's so many, all of our guests like I constantly talk to all the time on social media, and the idea that we would have started this, and Lauren, I know that you feel this way about starting your business in general, like that we would have started doing this and actually met people that we're friends with and we're willing to go on vacation to meet up with is bat crap crazy, right? Like this is a family friendly show. I'm not going to curse for the first time, but like it is really nuts and fun to think about that. Like we have a little group of people that we would love to go and hang out with on vacation.
Yeah.
To be able to say that is wild. And the VIP tour was just like a perfect experience for that because I never would have been able to do one by myself. That's just the reality. Yeah. For those that don't know, they're typically, I think, $750 an hour per person is like where it starts, and it's a minimum, I think, of usually 7 hours. So it's a very expensive ordeal. And when you're talking about like families like we all have, Lauren's got 4, I've got 5, Chip's got 7, like that you're paying the out of the max number of people, 10 or 12, you're paying the majority of it.
Yeah.
And so, it's a very expensive ordeal. And like I can't overlook that when evaluating kind of whether or not I recommend this to people. And the other thing that I think is really important to keep in mind, Seth, shout out to Seth because he was absolutely fantastic. Like he gave us enough knowledge on like backstage stuff or things about rides or history that for us that are nerds about Disney, he took it to another level for us. But he also didn't make us feel like we were stupid, which I loved.
Yeah.
You know what else I liked
there's
about that too? I did the VIP thing at Universal, and I remember we went through like the big, and I went on this with like my daughter came on with us, and she loves Harry Potter, and he let us walk through the queue so we could see all. I think it was the one at Hollywood Studios. It was their big Harry Potter ride, and you're in the castle, and you feel like you're there, and then we walked out the back door, and he's like, "See that ugly building? That was the ride we were just in," and I was like, well, that just kind of ruined that. Thank you for that. And I like that he wasn't like that because you could easily tell too much or be like, gotcha. And it kind of like ruins it a little bit. He did a really good job at that.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, I feel like, there's a way to do it without being like demeaning and making it seem like you're the know-it-all or whatever. Like he was, I can't rave about him enough. Like he was awesome. And I do think that, having done it at Universal also, I had a great tour guide there, but I think the tour guide and the group you're with is just as important as anything else on doing these experiences because it just can make or break the experience. Yeah. For sure.
And what's funny is
Chip,
Seth,
you got something you want to add?
Yeah, Seth has reached out to me a couple times because I stayed an extra week after our trip, so he was like kind of giving me some tips and stuff, as well as like some of the other people that have were on our tour were messaging me and saying, "Hey, have a great trip." And I would say that the group is what makes it. We had a great group, and that's what made it. I mean, so that was probably one of the coolest things is that I was with people like never met really, and we had a great time. I spent 7 hours with them and left my family and had a great time. So
Yeah, the other thing to mention about this is I think we would all agree you don't get nearly as much done as you think you're going to.
Yeah.
We knocked out, and I think Matt, who helped like kind of organize everything, was really clear. Like we wanted to do the e-ticket attractions, the top rides at each park, and we did that. We knocked them all out. Tiana's wasn't open yet. I think it opened 2 days later after we went.
Yep.
But we knocked out everything that was like the e-ticket stuff, and it was awesome. But it really like hammers home that if you had like a family with kids, you're not getting all the big ticket attractions done, most likely, because we were moving. Like we were not messing around.
Yeah, we got
not,
split up
like,
a couple times because half of the group was like 1,000 feet in front of the rest of us.
Yeah, like we were moving quickly, and the transportation does take some time, and like doing all 4 parks, takes a little bit away from that, like by doing that. And we sat down to eat, which took some time too, but we did knock out everything. And Seth really pointed out like he could have a VIP group for 7 hours in Magic Kingdom and still barely get everything done there if you've got like a family that wants to do all the attractions. Yeah. Which I thought was a really interesting point. And that goes back to, you still wait in the lightning lanes, which I think is something that people don't necessarily understand. If you've done it at Universal, like you literally just get on the rides. If you do it at Disney, like when we go to Cosmic Rewind, what I talked about earlier, you're still watching the pre-show. You're still waiting in line with the lightning lane folks. Same thing with Tron or any of the other rides. So there is some time spent doing that kind of stuff also, right? So let me ask you this. If you were to go back with just your family on a VIP tour, just hypothetically, Lauren, we'll start with you on this one. What would you kind of make your itinerary, or how would you want to maximize your 7-hour day if you went with just you and your family doing what you wanted to do?
They'd probably sucker me into Magic Kingdom, which wouldn't be my first choice, but I know it'd be my kid's choice. But Matt was talking about how he did a VIP group where he like went with like a group of people he didn't know during the holidays, and they got to look at all the cool holiday decorations, kind of like a behind the scenes. If my kids didn't really have a say in it, I would sign us up for like something like for the Halloween time, or because that would be so cool to see. But I know that they would be like, boring, put me on a ride. So
Yeah, I think he mentioned they resort hop to like see the gingerbread houses.
yeah, that just sounds
and things like that.
as someone who was like the planner when we go down my family, that was another benefit. It was so nice to not be like, what are we going on next? Let me get the next lightning lane. Or it was nice to have someone else take control and like you're just down for the ride. That was refreshing.
Yeah, that was very cool for sure.
Yeah.
Chip, what would you kind of make up your itinerary?
if it's our
Would you prioritize?
I would probably prioritize the e-ticket minus maybe Animal Kingdom. I liked Everest. We loved Everest, but we walked on I guess my kids walked on Flight of Passage and we walked on Everest. So, but maybe, I don't know. My kids love Ratatouille, but we'd spend a lot of time in Magic Kingdom. Maybe go over and do Rise and Slinky Dog a couple of times. Like my kids would want to do Slinky Dog at least twice, so we would probably do that.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
But I mean, we would probably skip Tower of Terror just because they've ridden it multiple times. But I think they would probably love to do it and ride Big Thunder Mountain probably 20 times. I'm not gonna lie, like that's my daughter's favorite ride. She would sit there and ride it 20 times.
Well, I think that they did have a rule that I don't know if it was once or twice to ride all this stuff, and I don't know if it applied to Big Thunder, but I remember Seth saying, and he'll probably murder me for not remembering, so please take it easy on me, Seth. But like, you can't just ride Tron over and over, or Guardians over and over, which makes sense. Like they can have like 100, VIP groups going out at one time or whatever, and if everybody's just riding the same top attractions over and over, it ruins it for everybody. But I think, to Lauren's point, I would, like, as somebody that goes frequently, I would recommend finding a way to do, like, to get some Disney insight that you don't necessarily have, or experience that you don't necessarily have. So whether that be, like, doing the Christmas decorations or doing something, in the fall, like, how cool would it be to do your, like, meal at Trader Sam's with a VIP tour? Like, that would be something that would be a lot of fun. And that comes from like the fact that like our families and us in particular, we've ridden those e-ticket attractions, right?
Yeah.
So like, I think finding ways to bring out, something that we don't normally get to do. And that was where, like Matt mentioned, and Seth said this as well, they had a unique tour. I want to say it was last year.
It was the 50th.
Where you got to go in. Yeah, the 50th anniversary VIP tour.
Oh, I would have loved that.
You got, so for those that don't know, you get to go in and see the Cinderella's Castle Suite. And like, that would be like, just like a VIP tour was bucket list, but that would just be on a different level.
What's the tour you wanted to take? Oh, Keys of the Kingdom. Like, I would love to do.
I want to do it so bad.
We tried to when we were down there back in April, but I would love to do like Keys of the Kingdom, but holiday edition, something along that line. Like, my wife would eat that up. Like, she would love to do that, where you got to go see all the main trees, like at the resort. So you got to go see Animal Kingdom, you got to go see Wilderness Lodge, you got to go to the Grand. Like, that would be something that would be a dream type of thing. Yeah.
That'd be so fun.
Yeah, and Keys to the Kingdom, you get to go do the utilidors. Like, that's for us the ultimate Disney nerd experience for sure. My kids would not care at all. Like, oh, we're in the tunnel underneath Magic Kingdom. Oh, who cares? Let's go ride a ride.
Yeah.
Right? But for us, we would, and that's why I tried to do it when Chip and I were down there by ourselves, because my kids I think there's an age limit, but my kids wouldn't enjoy that at this point. So like, that would definitely be a bucket list item. But doing it where you're seeing all the Christmas trees and the gingerbread houses and stuff would be, I think, a great experience also, for sure. But I think let's think about like the ideal person to do this tour. I think is people that, like, you need a little bit more hands-on experience in terms of transportation, that reduced stress level that Lauren talked about, where you don't need to spend the time on your phone doing Genie Plus. Like, to me, it's, if you can afford it and it's one of your first or second trips to Walt Disney World, it is an absolute great way to make your trip special. Lauren, we really appreciate you coming on. We hope everybody enjoyed our kind of feedback on after hours VIP tours. I think we're all a little anxious for the changes that are coming to Genie Plus. I have a lot of like angry takes about it at the moment, so I'm going to try and simmer down on those before we talk about it a little bit next week. But MultiPass is coming. That's going to be on next week's show. As you guys know, please like, rate, and review the podcast on whatever platform you listen to. Check us out on social media. Lauren, where can people find you and Main Street Tourist on social media?
Instagram, TikTok, and it's all just at Main Street Tourist.
Nice and easy, right?
Super easy.
Chip, where can people find you for those looking for you on social media?
Robinson Dad Life.
And I am at Adventures of a Disney Dad on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and our website, adventuresofdisneydad.com. As always, if you'd like to plan a vacation with me, my services are completely free. It's free to get a quote, all that stuff. I'll help you do your MultiPass. I'll help you make your dining reservations.
I'll help you with the cruise.
Yes.
Help you with the cruise. We do cruises. We do all of it, including Universal, non-Disney cruises, all that stuff. You need it, I'll help you do it and plan a dream vacation. So please feel free to reach out. All the links to get a quote are going to be in the show notes. And as always, we appreciate it, and we will see you guys in the parks.
See you when we see you.
Bye.